I've had the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL for 1 week now, and I have to say, I love this phone. Is it worth the upgrade over the Pixel 8 Pro? Well, if I said that, Google would never send me a review unit, so I can't say that answer explicitly, but, depends on what you guys think. The purpose of this video is my 1 week review of this device. I think it is totally worth it, especially if you're coming from an older Pixel device. I'm thinking your Pixel 6s, your Pixel 7s. Yeah, I think this is definitely a great upgrade. Let's get right into it. The build quality on the Pixel 9 Pro XL is absolutely stunning. I love how this thing looks. It has a polished aluminum frame, but the color of it, especially on my Hazel model, it looks more like a nickel color. I really like the color that they use on the frame. I do wish it was titanium. I'm not a fan of the polished look. It gets all fingerprinty and it looks all gross and greasy just using it for a couple seconds. So I do wish we had the best of both worlds, be it that we had the titanium frame and also the non-polished camera module. So there is something nice compared to something like the Google Pixel 8 Pro. This thing is all scratched up and ruined, and I hope that this non-polished version is going to fare much better when it comes to scratches and just resting on the table and things like that. So build quality, I think it is built amazingly well. They did kind of bring a new design quality into it. So this reminds me a lot of my iPhone 15 Pro Max, I'm not gonna lie. It feels pretty identical in the hand. Not only that, but when I picked it up for the first time, this thing is heavy. It's not that much heavier than the Google Pixel 8 Pro, but it's heavy enough to where you actually do notice it. Another thing I should mention, now they just started calling this model the 9 Pro XL, and this is the 8 Pro. They're the same model. I mean, in a sense that this is the XL model, but now that they've come out with a smaller version, they give you more options in case you wanted a smaller phone, but wanted to still keep the Pro features. One thing I don't like about this, however, is that the smaller phone is coming in at around the price of the older Pixel 8 Pro, which is technically the Pixel 9 Pro XL. So when you really think about it, if you're upgrading from the Pixel 8 Pro to the similar model, they increase the price on you about $100. So not a fan of that. It does feel a lot better. It does look a lot more premium, but I am going to miss my curved edges of the Pixel 8 Pro. I find this to be much more comfortable in my hand to hold over the 9 Pro XL. In addition to that, you're going to get the same IP68 water and dust resistance, so no change there, just as good as last year. And also something else that people aren't mentioning, you see the back of the Google Pixel 8 Pro? It has that matte finish. Well, this has a matte finish as well. This is the Hazel model, like I mentioned before. But there's something about the coating that is a little bit different. The coating on the Pixel 8 Pro feels like a thicker coating, if that makes any sense. I love the way it feels. The coating on the 9 Pro XL feels much more like my iPhone 15 Pro Max and my S24 Ultra. It doesn't feel as thick, and I feel like this is going to get scratched up way easier. We'll have to see. I am going to be using this thing without a case, so I will be able to give you some reviews on that, but I don't have any scratches on the back of my Pixel 8 Pro, and I think I'm going to get scratches on my 9 Pro XL. But time will tell. And unfortunately, there is no upgrade to the glass. You're still getting the same Gorilla Glass Victus 2 that you had on the previous model, front and back. Another thing that didn't change all that much, but there are some welcomed improvements, that is the screen. The screen continues to be an incredible screen. You are getting a 6.8-inch display versus the 6.7-inch on the previous model, but the resolution is going to be the exact same. The only difference is that the PPI is slightly lower than the previous generation, but it's not anything that you're going to notice. One area they improved in, however, is going to be the brightness. So brightness, when you're watching HDR content, you're going to be hitting 2000 nits of high brightness mode. And when you're outdoors in the Florida sun like I am, instead of getting the 2400 nits of peak brightness that you got on the previous generation, you're getting 3000 nits. But the real difference is going to be the front selfie camera. You're getting a whopping 42 megapixels. So yeah, 100% selfies are going to look a lot better on the 9 Pro XL. And in addition to that, the camera itself is actually a little bit wider. Here are some photos and videos that I took with the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, and tell me down below, how do you like them? Filming from the Google Pixel 8 Pro, going side to side here. Going into 2, 5. Oh, that was kind of janky. 1, 0.5. Back to 5. Back to 1. Back to 2. 0.5. Back to 1. Filming 4K with the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Gonna move side to side again. Okay, we're gonna go to 5, 2, 1, 0.5. We're gonna try to zoom in on that box again. We got 2, we got 5, back to 1, 0.5, back to 1. If you watch my videos, you like them, please hit the subscribe button down below as well as the like button. It helps the channel a ton. So I've only been using this thing for a week, so this could change in my full review, but I have been getting regularly 10 hours of screen on time with the Google Pixel Pro XL. It is an incredible device. I would normally get around 6 to 8 hours with my Pixel 8 Pro. I'm getting much better battery life on this device, and the battery capacity hasn't changed that much, only by 10 milliamp hours. So there is an obvious improvement with the chip, with the performance, with the efficiency. Google hit it out of the park. They're finally on par, more or less, with the Galaxy S24 Ultra. And speaking of that performance, you are getting a new chip in this device. So from last year, you had the Google Tensor G3, and this year, duh, you got the Google Tensor G4. Now, is it vastly different than the previous generation? No, but it's just different enough to where Google is getting closer to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. The issue though is that the S25 Ultra comes out just next year, normally around January, February. So if it can't beat the S24 Ultra today, what is it going to look like when the S25 Ultra comes out compared to the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL? The under-display fingerprint sensor from last year, which was an optical fingerprint sensor, this year you get an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor similar to, or even the same as, the S24 Ultra's ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. The haptic feedback, I've seen a few questions on Reddit about this. It's the exact same. So when I use the Pixel 8 Pro and this phone, I'm getting the same exact experience. The haptics are still a solid 10 out of 10. But let's get into some of the software features that I find incredibly useful that are new on this year's model. So first, this is a good thing but also a bad thing for things to come, and that is the Gemini Advanced subscription service. So you do get 1 year free if you buy any of the Pro models this year, but after that, it's gonna be like $20 a month. I don't like that. With that said, Gemini can do a ton of stuff. So the first thing is Gemini Live. So my wife and I, we want to plan a trip to St. Augustine, Florida. We already have a hotel room, but we just want to know some cool things that we can do there, and maybe some stuff that doesn't cost too much, and also some good restaurants to eat.
That's a great choice. There's a ton of really cool stuff to see and do in St. Augustine. It's a super historical place. You could spend a whole day just walking around the old downtown area, checking out the architecture and popping into little shops and galleries. There's also a fort called Castillo de San Marcos, which is a huge stone fortress. It's really interesting to walk around and learn about its history. And if you like the beach, St. Augustine has some
Well, we don't really want to go to the
Crescent
beach.
is
We
an
already live
option.
pretty close to the beach already. Is there stuff that we can do that's near the beach that isn't actually like on the beach?
Okay, here's the thing. Even if you're not a beach person, there's still a lot of cool stuff you can do in St. Augustine that's kind of near the beach. You could check out the St. Augustine Lighthouse and Museum. It's a historic lighthouse with awesome views of the whole area. Or maybe the St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoological Park, if you want to see some cool wildlife. There's also Castillo de San Marcos, that huge fort I mentioned. It's super interesting, and you'll learn a lot about history.
Are there any ghost tours? We kind of want to do something a little scary.
Oh yeah, definitely. St. Augustine has a ton of history. And with history comes, well, you could check out Ghost City tours. They focus on the spooky side of St. Augustine. You might even try one of those haunted pub crawls if you're feeling brave. But just a heads up, some of the ghost stories can get pretty creepy.
And how much does one of those things usually cost?
Usually, tickets to the big attractions like the lighthouse or the fort cost around $20 or $30 for adults. If you want to do multiple attractions, they sometimes have combo deals or passes that can save you a bit of money. Ghost tours can be a little pricier, but you can find some for around $25 or $30.
Wow, it's actually pretty crazy that it remembered everything I said and gave me a price for each thing. That's kind of off script, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
Give me a
yeah,
sec
you're
to
good. But apart from just having conversations with Gemini Live, which can be fun in itself, it's very useful as a tool. So if I'm using Chrome and I open up a web page, I'm looking at an article, and I want a summary of that article, I can use Gemini to summarize that article. It helps a ton. If you don't want to read through an entire article and you just want the key points of that article, it does provide them to you, and it does it very quickly. Similar to doing that on a Chrome web page, you can also do that on YouTube. So one of my favorite YouTubers, and I do watch all of his videos, by the way, even if they're like an hour long, and that is Flossie Carter. I love that guy's videos. But here's the thing. There are some times where Flossie drops an hour-long video and I'm off to work and I'm like, oh man, Flossie, I can't watch this now. I've only got 15 minutes. I will watch it later, but at least for now, I want the key points. Well, something cool you can do with Gemini is that you can do the same thing that you did on the Google Chrome web page, and you can get a summary of the video. Another cool Gemini feature is photo editor. So Google has always been really good with their photo editors. You think of things like Magic Eraser, and even Samsung has this feature as well, but Google is just way ahead of it in my personal opinion. Well, now with Gemini, you can do things that are even more advanced. You can do things where you can change the color of the sky. You can edit how it looks. You can make it so it looks like, you know, it's the golden hour. So when like the sun is coming down, very pretty. If you have a photo that's like very zoomed in and you want it to look a little bit more zoomed out, you can hit this button here and then it will reimagine it in a way to where it's as if you took the photo standing further back. And it uses AI to generate those pieces that would have been missing. And if you just want to reimagine something, you can do that. So if you have a photo and you want to be in space, you can color around the things that you want to show in space and you can reimagine that. If you want to just show that you're in anywhere in the world, you can do that. You can pretty much create whatever photo that you want. And finally, it kind of goes in line with the photo editor, but you have something that's called Pixel Studio. So I find myself sometimes I will go on to ChatGPT and I will be creating images all day long, just making goofy stuff and sending it to my buddies and saying like, hey, look at this, look what I made, right? Well, with this Pixel Studio, you can do a very similar thing. It's very quick and you can create whatever image you want. One downside is that I find that the quality is not that good. So if you wanted to create something that you're going to make like your phone background, it's not going to look that great. You might need to export it and then upscale it in a different application. So I think ChatGPT in that regard does a lot better with the image quality. But when it comes to the speed and the fact that it's running on your device right there with your Pixel, I do think it's an incredible feature to offer. And I think with time, this could be much better than ChatGPT. But at least as it stands today, I do think ChatGPT still has the edge. Also, there's something that's called Add Me. Now, I will be honest, I think this is a good feature, but I do see it kind of like a gimmick. I just can't picture people doing this on cruises or on vacations. It does an incredible job and it's very convincing, but there are some AI artifacts that can make the image look a little fake. And I'm not a fan of that, so I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up. It might get better with additional updates, but at least as it stands for now, I look at it as a very cool feature with a ton of potential, but not something I'm honestly going to use on our next vacation. This is the complete package, and I can't wait to do more comparisons with the 8 Pro, with the S24 Ultra, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, because I think we'll find that this is going to hold its own much better than the previous generation. But subscribe for all that, and please give this video a like if you liked the video, and put your comments down below. Do you think the 9 Pro XL is worth it, or is there a better phone out there for 2024? And I will see all of you next time.